Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. I am here once again to bring you guys some YSL content. Since we've been covering this case, I decided that hey, let's get some of these attorneys in, and they're coming in one by one. These are the attorneys that's currently no longer on the case any longer. But today I have Mr. Justin Hill. He is one second. I keep getting these people texting. Sorry, guys. He was one of the attorney that was on the YSL. But remember, he is the attorney that went viral for his comment, no capping. You remember that? Remember that comment? Well, he will be here with us this evening. I'm just giving him a few moments to log in so he can come on in. So before I do that, let me say hello to the people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Perspective. Hey, Kimberly. I know, Kimberly, you get ready to go to work, so I guess I'll see you later. Hey, Lavelle. Miss Green Eyes. Good evening. Hey, VK. Hey, Vivian. Hey, Bree. Nosy Rosie, hello. Hey, Irvin. Hey, Steph. Hello, Gigi. Hey, Lavelle. Hey, Queen. E. Hey, Wayne. Hey, baby girl. Hello, Juanette. Hey, Miss Green Eyes. How you guys doing this evening? Hope you guys are doing well. Let me just see if he needs any assistance. Hold on a second. Let's see if he needs any assistance. Okay, let's see. For some strange reason, StreamYard, if you're using an iPhone, for some strange reason, it gives you a hard time to get in. So we're just gonna wait on him. We kept in contact, and so I know he's trying to log in right now. But let me finish saying hello to the folks that's coming into the chat. Hey, Toya. Hey, Kia. Hello, Angie. Hello, Dr. TTH. You're back. Hey, Jumbo Paperclip. How you doing? Before we get started, after this live, after we finish this interview, I will be doing a special. I look refreshed. That's because I got on white. White makes you look like you're awake, alive, vibrant. White gives you that crisp wake up look, especially with my white hair too. I didn't color. I just kept it white. This is a real white. My hair was real white. Let's see. So purity, yes, purity. I do have some update to give you later on, and I'll be going live after my interview with Mr. Hill. And so let's see if he's okay. Let's see if he's having some issues. Let's see. Okay. New beginnings. Yes, new beginning. Absolutely. So how's everybody's oh, there he is. Hello.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a while, right?
It has been a minute. How's everything been going?
It's been going pretty well. It's still the same old since you left. It
Right.
seems like the process is still taking a long time.
Yeah. 9-month jury selection. It's unprecedented.
It's not. Oh, well, let's get started because I don't want to hold you too long. But first, would love for you to give an introduction because a lot of people don't know who you are, a little bit about your background, what's your specialty, and all that kind of stuff.
So I'm attorney Justin Hill. I'm the founder and managing partner of the J Hill firm. It's based in Atlanta. Um, I started and opened up my law firm right out of law school. So I've been practicing for going up on 2 years now, and I do criminal defense and personal injury. When it comes to criminal defense, I do anything from misdemeanors, simple assaults, DUIs, all the way up to serious felonies, aggravated assaults, RICO, murder, and the like. When it comes to the personal injury world, I do car accidents, slip and falls, premises liability, things of that nature. That's the extent of my practice right now. Like I said, I've done a lot of good work, saved a lot of lives, beat a lot of cases, and I plan to keep on going and growing and learning.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the cases and I was looking at some of the reviews that people were saying. One of the things that they did say was that you're the type of attorney that basically really cares for your clients. They're like family, because I know there was like 3 of your things that you live by as far as your law firm. And I,
Right.
I cheated and I saw some things. But where did you go to law school?
I went to law school at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland,
Okay.
Cleveland, Ohio.
So you're from Cleveland? Because I saw something in Wisconsin. So which
So I'm actually from Montgomery, Alabama.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, that's where I grew up. I went to Morehouse for undergrad, and
Okay.
then I went up to Cleveland for law school at Case Western. The Wisconsin, that was during my 3rd year of law school. I clerked for a Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice, Justice Rebecca Dallett.
Mhm.
So that's what that was. But I'm
Okay.
not from the Midwest. I'm originally from the South,
It's-
Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay. And also I saw that you wrote some publication.
I
Two.
have,
Two, right?
yeah. So I actually have 4 in
Oh,
total. I
okay. I
did.
saw only two.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I had 2 at the time. By the time I graduated law school, I had 2 published. One at 2 at UCLA actually,
Mhm.
but shortly thereafter, after I graduated, I got 2 more publications. One at the University of Maryland, and another at what's the name of that school? It's Ohio Northern University. That's what it
Okay.
is.
Okay.
So
The one I read about is the one where you talked, the title of it was called The Badges and Incident of Criminality. What is that one all about?
So that one is based around the 13th Amendment.
Mhm.
The 13th Amendment, that's the amendment that abolished slavery in the United States. But there are 2 sections of the 13th Amendment. The section 1, is on its face abolishes slavery, but section 2, it empowers Congress with the authority to pretty much prohibit any badges and incidents of slavery, which is pretty much any remnants, pretty much any remnants of slavery that may linger on in the years to continue to enforce the 13th Amendment. And that article was I pretty much compared a lot of the collateral consequences that come with criminal convictions, and just criminal histories, the stigmas, and a lot of the things like not being able to vote, not being able to get jobs, not being able to get public benefits, all of that. I compare those to a lot of the what some of the things that the Supreme Court actually um, reviewed and deemed badges and incidents of slavery. So it was essentially saying that people with criminal histories and criminal convictions suffer many of the same and similar consequences that freed slaves suffered. And it was a call to Congress to legislate or enact legislation in order um, to do something about that, to prevent that and regulate those consequences.
Okay, great. So now I know what everyone is here for. Your viral video. When you said the word no capping. So what was happening at the time that you said that, and who was that directed to? And just give us a little bit of insight about that one.
Uh-huh.
I think you're frozen. Did he freeze up? Guys, okay, we froze. He might have to come out and come back in. All right, let's hold up a second. I'm gonna remove him and let him come back in. Hold on. I tell you, these computer technology, just like, oh. Let's see if he just come back in. So, guys, what do you like? Do you like it so far? Do you like our interviews? Here. Oh yeah, I was about to talk about that, Dr. TTH. I was about to talk about. Come on, don't spoil it. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I think my Wi-Fi had a little glitch, but we're back on now.
Okay. Did you hear my question?
So I did hear you mention the no cap video. That was the last thing I heard, though.
Okay. What I was asking was, what was the reason that you said the no cap, and who was it directed to, and what was the circumstances behind that?
So I was arguing a motion in limine to get some evidence excluded from my client's case. And, I had went up and originally gave, I presented the motion to the honorable court. And then after I went, the state had their chance to give their response. And in their response, the state said something that wasn't true. And it particularly, it disturbed me because my comment was directed to the prosecutor. Okay. And what he said that I didn't mention part of my argument, which was a key part of my argument in my motion, which it kind of took me, because that particular argument that I made, the prosecutor put in a footnote. He particularly addressed that argument in a footnote in his response motion. So in my head, I'm just like, how are you going to really get up before the honorable court and just cap in such a manner? So I was just, when I got up there, I just felt inclined to just let the court know that, what he said is just not true. And that's just how it came out.
So do you think the judge understood that the cap?
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that, I think my message got across. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if he completely understood what the term meant, or if he caught it. I'm not sure if it went over his head, but I mean, I think my message got across though.
Yeah, the world knew it. I'm gonna jump back and forth with your background and also with the YSL stuff. Now, I was reading in your bio, there's a musical side of you.
There is.
So it says artist. What type of artist are you?
It's like, hip hop rap with a, splash of R&B as well.
So you rap?
I do.
Do you have an album out?
I have two EPs out. I have one that's coming out in the next month or so. It's actually entitled "It's Cap," to be honest. So
really,
okay. Yeah. So look out for that.
Okay, I will be looking out for it. As far as YSL, how did you get onto that case?
I just like to say I was in the right place at the right time. I actually, Angela DeWilliams, I was in Gwinnett County. I ran into her and we were talking, and, one thing led to another. And I found out that there were some of the clients who needed attorneys. And, I reached out, I made some phone calls, and that's how I got on. It was like I said, I think it was being in the right place at the right time.
Awesome. Were you considered to be public defender, or
in this particular case, I was a C3 attorney. So C3 meaning that I am. So generally, as a career, I'm not a public defender. I have my own private practice, but in this particular case, especially cases when there are multiple co-defendants, when it is cases when defendants are conflicted out of the public defender as well as the conflicts office. And this, I served in this particular case in the capacity as a public defender, but I am not a career public defender though.
Okay. So what is a conflict office? What is that? What's that terminology all about? I don't.
So the and this is with any law firm though.
Mhm.
You can't represent clients that pose a conflict for current or former clients. So I use it in the sense of criminal. So the public defender's office, when there are multiple co-defendants in a case, in this, YSL, 28 co-defendants,
Mhm.
the public defender's office can only represent one of those 28 co-defendants because representing more than one, their defense could pose a conflict to another, if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
because as lawyers, we have a duty to zealously advocate for our clients to give them the best defense possible,
Mhm.
and we can't put ourselves in a situation where our representing one client would act or could adversely affect another client. So when you take one client, the public defender's office can only take one. So there's another level that the state offers, which is the state has a conflict office. So they can take one more of those co-defendants.
Okay.
And then after that second one, there is no third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 28th level of conflict offices offered by the state. After that second level, the remaining 26 co-defendants, it is either they have to retain private counsel or it goes to the C3 attorneys, which are private attorneys who get paid by the state to represent those particular attorneys. I mean, sorry, those particular clients.
Okay. Okay. So it's okay. So it's after the two, the conflict is the one, and the regular is one. And after that second one, it goes to the C3, and C3 could be anywhere.
Right.
Right. Okay. Okay. I kind of got it now. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So what do you what well, since being on the YSL case, what do you see that was like one of the main issues with representing your client with the YSL? What were some of the things that you dealt with that you have never dealt with before? You know,
Some of the things that I dealt with, you mean as far as um me
the
meaning
challenges that you really had that you saw yourself that was like a lot of hurdles of
okay.
personally, you know.
I can say in this with YSL particularly a big challenge was especially because it was indicted as a RICO conspiracy.
Mhm.
It was even though, my client, was Mr. Blaylock and he was my responsibility because of the way that the case was indicted as a conspiracy. The evidence against everyone was pretty much relevant to my client because the act of one can be attributed to the act of all. So the evidence of everyone was, I had to familiarize myself with that, and that was, relevant to my client's case. So that was a big challenge, especially, you're dealing with terabytes of discovery. That was a
Mhm.
big challenge. Another thing was, of course, being in court. Once trial started, being in court every day by the time I got severed, it was 6 months. That is, I mean, something that's you got to put your whole business on hold when you're in case pretty much 9 to 5 for 6 months. All of my other clients that I had to file conflict letters, get those cases continued, let all of my clients know, hey, you know, the case is going to be on hold for a little bit. I'm in trial in Fulton County. That's another, hurdle that we had to deal with. But it was a lot. It was a pretty taxing time. It was good, especially for a younger attorney like me in a sense, because that was great experience, a good time to really harping on my trial skills and get on working on complex cases like that. But
Mhm.
it was definitely had a lot of hurdles to it as well.
Okay. Now, so are you still representing him for the next trial or?
Yes. So I got severed, so we're not a part of the trial that's going on right now,
Mhm.
but I am still representing him. And whenever the current trial ends, when the next trial comes, I will still be representing him. Unless I can, beat it beforehand, which I'm still working on trying to get it, dropped, thrown out without having to go to trial a second time. But, in the event that that's necessary, then yes, I will be there.
Okay. Will Granville be the judge on the bench for that trial as well?
To my knowledge, yes. I haven't gotten any indication that of otherwise, but yeah, to my knowledge, you still will be the presiding judge.
Okay. So what was your client charged with? And also, is he currently does he have a case that he has already been tried on already?
Yes, he
Okay.
does. He so in this particular case, he was only charged with count one, the RICO
Mhm,
conspiracy, and
mhm,
it was based on some previous charges that he had already been tried and convicted of, and that was, a big issue that I know we filed a joint motion to argue that and try to get, address that with the court. That was a big issue, but essentially though, that's yeah, he was only charged with the conspiracy to violate the RICO Act.
Wow, but his case had already been tried. So wouldn't that be considered double jeopardy then?
And that was exactly what we were arguing. We found some pretty strong case law, especially particular to my client. Um, given that the particular charge it was based on, an incident that occurred, and it was that he had already been tried and convicted of. So that in the case law, it speaks around that being, dealing with incidents and separations in times and victims and all of that. But those were some issues that we put before the court. Judge Glenville did deny that motion. That would, depending on how the trial turns out, that may still be a good issue for appeal. But that is something that a pretty um, a pretty feasible issue in this particular case.
Okay. So the other question I have is quite a few of the defendants I found out did not know Jeffrey Williams. Is your client one of those who did not know Jeffrey Williams but was added on to this case?
Yeah,
Hmm?
no, I mean, just as an artist, I mean, just listening to, I mean, he's one of the biggest artists, probably, definitely in the United States, but probably around the world.
Mhm.
So, he was familiar with him as an artist, but just like actually being cool enough to where, actually associated with him. No, my client was not associated with Mr. Williams in that capacity.
Wow, wow. Mm. Ooh, I tell you, this is a lot. Now, what do you think about this whole jury selection process? I know this is the first in history right now so far. Well, didn't they say the Atlanta case with the school system was in
In
that?
the APS case,
Yeah, how
it
long
took,
was that one?
I think, I think the jury selection, that one took, if I'm not mistaken, I think Keith told me about 3 months. I think that's what he said, which
Oh,
that was a pretty lengthy. I think at that time that was the longest, but I think YSL has
that is a
trumped
long.
that by a lot.
Okay. So what's your opinion on this whole jury process?
I think that it's difficult, and that's the issue that you have when you have a case like this, because I mean, in my opinion, I don't think this case necessarily had to be tried as a RICO or charged as a RICO, because like you said, a lot of these people don't even know each other that well. They're not associated in that capacity to really, be a part of an enterprise or, a part of a conspiracy. It it seems like an effort to get convictions. You've seen a lot of counties have been doing this, lumping people together to get convictions like this. But one of the issues that you get is you get, of course, the tax on attorneys that is going to take to, sit in court for months on end and pick the jury. But then the tax on the community people, you got thousands of citizens have to come in, take off work, have
Mhm.
to figure out stuff when it comes to their kids to come in to sit um, you know, through the jury selection process. And then it's only going to be so many people. It's going to be a particular group of people who are actually who's going to be feasible for them to sit through a trial that's going to take at least 6 months. Their
To be
full-time job is going to be a juror for at least half a year, and they're going to get paid $25 a day. It's only going to be a certain group of people who that's actually feasible for them to do. And that not only is it going to impact them, but depending on how the jury selection process turns out, that could also impact the case as well.
Wow. It's just um the last couple of days they've been doing motions, right? Motions to suppress different evidence that was captured. And then one of the things that I know Mr. Steele brought about was the witness list. It seems as if the witness list is getting larger, and they're not giving the information of the individuals on the witness list, and it's causing problem because the defense team can't be prepared to call on these witnesses without the information. So the judge had ordered the prosecution to submit it on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday came around and they still have not gotten a complete listing. So I know when you were in the case at the time, was there certain things that you did not have at all to represent your client, and do you still not have those items right now?
Right. So I know that discovery was still being sent out. We got, multiple additional discovery packages and files after jury selection had started. So, for a while after, during jury selection, we were still getting evidence. We were still getting, like I said, witness lists. We were still getting new information and evidence for the case.
Wow. To me, I'm gonna just give you my opinion. It's not your opinion. To me, I think that the jury selection process being so long and them having to do so many is a tactic for them to buy more time, because I don't believe they were really prepared for this case.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion, but would you concur with some of that?
I mean, so I think that it could partially be true. I do think that, like I said, with a case this big, there are challenges with seating a jury. But at the same time, when it comes to trial, everything is strategic on both ends, on the state and with the defense. Everything is strategic to for the benefit of each individual side. So I wouldn't doubt that certain things throughout the process of jury selection are strategic to enhance either side's case. When it comes to additional witness lists, additional evidence, to me, I'm never going to assume malfeasance on any other lawyer. We have a duty of candor and ethical duties to the
Yeah.
courts. I'm never going to assume malfeasance on the state or anybody.
Mhm.
But to me, I just say that it either suggests that they weren't prepared, that they were buying time, or that there's still some stuff they're still conducting investigations through, as we speak, because I can't help but think, if discovery still being sent out and witness lists are still being sent out, if this, whole thing had gone as planned, I mean, where would we be right now?
That's true. That's true. But back in June 2022, it was said that they were ready. That's what it was told to the whole court by the prosecutor, right?
Mhm.
And then I remember like around November, they had asked for like what is it called when you ask for time? What is that thing? The terminology, I forgot what it's called.
Right.
Continue. A
Continuance.
continuance. Yeah. And the judge denied their continuance. Remember? And he says, okay, January, we're gonna go on trial. It's gonna begin in January.
Mhm.
January 4th was when the trial's supposed to start. And then we're all the way up in almost October. And trial really hasn't started because this jury's still not seated.
Right.
So to me, it's still some sort of tactic. This is just Sylvia talking, not you.
No, I get it. I get it.
It's
I'll
just
just say one thing that I have learned in my time of practicing is, like I said, this is not making any, allegations to anybody. This is a general statement. One thing that I have learned is that prosecutors definitely will bluff. They definitely be bluffing sometimes. So just,
but the bluff is blatant now, because now I'm sitting in the courtroom, and even with the little tactics of different things that was happening, paraphernalia, contraband being brought in. It's just like that's not realistic, and especially you have inmates being able to walk around and do certain things, and it's weird to me. It's very weird. Weird. And then having inmates being able to communicate with the deputies and relationships, it's just something something's not right, something's just
I
not
thought
fit.
it was interesting when they start checking our bags and searching attorneys before going in the courtroom. Like, I have never been subject to being searched to go into a courtroom. We already get searched, go through metal detectors and get everything searched to come in the courthouse, which is understandable. But to go into a particular courtroom, I've never heard of that.
No. And it seems bias and prejudice, because let me tell you, because where the jurors was coming in, you remember how they sitting outside right by the doorway, and they all sit on that row, and you guys coming in and they watching you get searched, and
Right.
you're like, okay, are these attorneys criminals?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they being searched? Because it
Right.
does put on some sort of prejudice against you guys as attorneys. So I thought, and I think it was Steele that brought that motion in regard. No, I think it's D. Williams, one of them. But it's not right. It's not fair. And I know the judge made a ruling where they're not to put the jurors in front anymore. But then it started blaming attorneys coming in late, saying that, okay, if you came on time, they wouldn't see you. No, those jurors were sitting there from the beginning when
Right.
you walk in. Because when I go get my armband, I see the jurors there, And then they were saying how the attorneys should not be communicating with each other in front of the jurors, but you're walking in. It's impossible.
Right.
So, so how is your workload now? Are you able to meet some of your deadlines?
Yeah. So now I will say immediately after being severed, it was kind of like, all the case that I had pushed back. Once judges found out, it was kind of like everything got thrown in, and it was really doing a lot of playing catch up. Right now, I will say that I'm caught back up. I'm not still behind. Right now, it's been just trying to get back to bringing in more clients, trying to get back to making money, and which has been good. And now, my caseload has gotten, I'm pretty busy now. My caseload has gotten back pretty busy, so I'm in a good place. It's just whenever I guess the time comes to get back to trial, I guess we'll visit that when the time comes. But for now, I'm just trying to keep getting to that money and building my case and get back to saving the world.
So during this time right now, do you still send a little check on your client, even though you're not working with him right now, or do you just let him just hang in there and just forget about
Yeah, I
him?
mean, I communicate with his family, his mom in particular, every now and then, just to check in, make sure everything's cool. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. So are you ready for some questions from the folks in this chat?
I am ready for some questions.
Ready for the questions. Okay, chat. Are you guys ready for the question from Mr. Hill? All right, so let's see. Let me see who's going to be the first one to do this. And guys, let's not attack the character of the judge or any of the prosecutors, please, because I'm not gonna go for that at all. We're not doing that today. No character assassination. Okay. Any questions? I'm waiting for them because it's kind of a delay.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to keep my guests on too long.
Nah, I understand.
Okay. Question. Does his client feel safe in Rice Street? Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, so Wright Street is a different. It's a different type of play. That's probably one of the. I would put forth that Wright Street is probably one of the worst jails in in the state. However, my client currently isn't at Rice Street. He's serving some time on some other charges, so he's not currently in Rice Street right now.
So he's in another prison.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Do you think the judge is being fair?
I think Judge Glanville is. I really think Judge Glanville is doing the best that he can. I can definitely say that this is a challenging case for any judge. And I would honestly say that any judge who, had anything to say about Judge Glanville, I would just say that, I mean, get in his shoes.
Yep.
And, let's see what you do. So I have much respect for Judge Glanville. I would definitely say that I think he's doing the best that he can. That's a case like this is something that you see in federal courts. Federal courts they operate a whole lot differently. Like they're more equipped, they have a lot more resources and everything. So these are cases that, federal courts, handle and are equipped to handle. So I think that Judge Glanville is doing the best that he can.
How did he get chosen to be to take this case?
So I know that he's the chief judge.
Uh-huh.
So as far as, like I said, as far as how he particularly got chosen, I'm not sure if because of the complexity and size of the case, they just allocated this to the chief judge, or if, this is just, a case that got thrown upon him just randomly. But like I do know that, Chief Judge Glanville is the chief judge for Fulton County Superior Court, and the complexity and size of a case like this, it wouldn't surprise me that if they felt that it was best suited for the chief judge to handle it.
Okay. All right. The next question is, do you feel a little bias with this case?
A little bias.
As far as, I guess, with the judge, I think that's what they're talking about. That's kind of the same type of question.
Okay. I guess I'll say when it comes to, I guess I'll just answer it generally. I know a lot of people, and especially when it pertains to jurors, and this is the problem, an issue, a very big issue with jury selection, especially when it comes to a case that is this widely publicized in the media, this high profile. It's at a certain point, especially when you get to, panel 5, 6, 7, it's going to be very difficult to find people who haven't heard anything about the case, who haven't, formed, some sort of preconceived notion or thoughts about it. Because, like I said, you get to jury panel 5, it might be someone who was following it and they didn't even know that they were going to get selected for jury selection. And then all of a sudden you get a letter in the mail and it's like, you can't just unforget everything that you heard. But that will be one of the problems or one of the issues when it comes to picking a jury. But the key is, just finding people who can, be impartial despite whatever, inherent biases or thoughts or beliefs that they have about any of the factors going on in the case.
Wow. Okay, next question. Do you think he's been more lenient with the prosecutor than he is with the defense attorney? But I want to say something before you say something. I found out that his background is a prosecutor.
Okay. So, and I'll just say as a general matter, I've encountered judges who, like I said, some have backgrounds as prosecutors, some as defense lawyers. And sometimes it depends on the case. Some judges have, particular, they have different, feelings and thoughts about certain types of cases, but there are certain judges who are more defense, who kind of, I guess, a little bit more defense, linear, as you say, and a little bit more prosecution linear, as you say. So I just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. In the federal court, do they yell at lawyers just they are very professional on a federal level?
Yes, the The lawyers in the federal court is a whole different ballgame from state court. Um, it is a lot very professional. It is pretty. If your hearing is at 9 o'clock, you can, if you're not there at 9 o'clock, it's you having a problem. The hearing starts at 9 o'clock if it's set for 9, and it's just going, and then once your time is up, like, you're done. So federal court is very different from state court.
Yeah. Do you have the same thoughts about discovery as Mr. Steele?
What I'm not sure Mr. Steele's particular thoughts that this question is
Uh,
referring to.
tall glass. You probably need to explain a little bit more. We'll come back to your question. Tasha says, do you do think the lawyers have been very patient? I guess, do you think the lawyers have been very patient with all they have to deal with, as well as all the things that prosecutors slow to give up the discovery?
Yeah, so I do think that all the lawyers have been very patient. Like I said, everything when it comes to trial is strategic, and even things happen, and especially when things happen that as defense lawyers that we may not deem as, I won't say fair, but when things happen that may seem a little shady, we still have to handle it professionally. We can't get bent out of shape. We can't act out of character, especially in the presence of the court, because that can put that can reflect poorly on our clients. Because when you think about how the way that the judges and the jury perceive us as the lawyers will also be a reflection on how they perceive our clients as well. So everything is strategic. You have to handle everything with professionalism. If there's something, you can't let people get too out of line. If there is something that if anyone ever got too out of line, that would be something that may need to be addressed ex parte, or if it was something that need to be addressed before the court, you just make sure that it was done so respectfully.
Yeah, behind the scene, not in front of jurors, right?
Right.
Okay. So do you think the team was very cohesive? Did it work well together, or everybody wanted to be superstars? What do you think?
And that's one thing that I really appreciated about the group with as far as attorneys on the case. I think that God brought everybody together for a reason. He brought everyone who was supposed to be there together, because we, like I said, we all worked together. We had multiple meetings where we got together and discussed, during jury selection, discussed what jurors that we all thought. And it wasn't, especially with, like I always say, like with me being a younger lawyer, I know sometimes I never got the feeling that any of the older, more seasoned lawyers, like Brian, Bruce, Keith, none of them were just like not taking my input or anyone else's input as less valuable because they are who they are, or because I may be younger, whatever. It was everyone was listening, and everyone appreciated everyone's input. It was a team. No one was trying to throw anyone's client under the bus to help their client. So I definitely appreciated that. I can definitely say that I got some colleagues, mentors, trial partners for the rest of my career.
And I do like, because I get this I get a chance to see you guys, how you guys communicate with one another. It's like if one person didn't have anything, the other person especially like the times when somebody was getting chewed out.
Mm-hmm.
The other one would step in and try. Mr. Matthew is good at that. He constantly try. He's like the father figure that makes sure everything is cool and on the even feel. That, I mean, I really like. Everybody had their little perks.
Right.
Everybody, and it seems really, really genuine. It's just like a family.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. Yeah, I appreciated the whole group. Everybody, like, much love to everybody out there.
Yeah. It says, do you feel with additional witnesses being added, will it hinder the defense?
It can pose challenges because, you have to have, as defense lawyers, as a lawyer, we have to have of sufficient time to, you know, reach out to these witnesses, get all the information that we need to prepare our case. So, you know, it could possibly. So I know at the same time though, when it comes to that, we generally speaking, um, if especially if it's something that we just received, in my experience, will know if I'm just receiving something and I ask the judge for, you know, more time, like, you know, for whether it's a continuance or just, you know, some additional time before um, trial starts or before a hearing to, you know, review something, reach out to some witnesses, or have a little bit more time to look over something because I just received it. Generally, judges are pretty lenient with that. Now, if it's something that I got 6 months ago and I'm asking for more time, that's different. But if I just got something and the judge is aware that I just got something, oftentimes, you know, judges are pretty fair and understanding in that sense.
Okay. Next question says, what is the process in Georgia on speedy trials?
So, generally, when you file a speedy trial motion, that expedites the process, or I'm sorry, well, the time constraints that the court has to get a case on the trial calendar. Now, depending on, you know, the basis of your speedy trial request, you know, sometimes the judge may have two. It may have to be on the next calendar call cycle, like the next trial calendar cycle, or it may have two trial cycles depending on the request. But it, you know, expedites the um, the time that the court has to put the case on a trial calendar.
Okay. All right. Crushy asks, do the judge ever talk to the DA, Fannie Willis? Bonnie Willis?
That I'm not particularly sure. I wouldn't, you know, be surprised if, I mean, they've had conversations. I would say as far as it pertains to this case, it is um unethical for a lawyer to have ex parte conversations with the judge in outside of the presence of, you know, opposing counsel.
Mhm.
So, for example, myself or Miss Willis couldn't individually go before the judge and have a conversation about this case without, you know, someone, a representative from the opposing side, being present.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you feel any racial tension from the opposing side or even in the system as a whole?
So in this particular case, I mean, and this is something that I found very interesting in this case, was the there was a the amount of black people just in this whole involved, as far as even on the lawyer side involved in this whole case, is something that I haven't experienced much in my time practicing. When you look at the whole prosecution being um black, all the prosecutors, at least the ones that you know, show up to court on a daily, are black. There are some other people working on the case who may be of other backgrounds, but all of the prosecutors that show up to court are black, and it's a lot of black prosecutors. I'm sorry, black attorneys on the defense side, as well as the judge being black. When you in a space with that many black people involved in the process, that is something that I can say that is unique, that I haven't experienced many times in my career thus far. But as far as in the system as a whole, I will say that depending on where you go, it's different. Like when you're in somewhere like, you know, Fulton County or Clayton County, where most of the judges are black, it's a lot of black prosecutors as well. I think that maybe a little bit less likely to run into some um, some racial tension. But when you go to other counties, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say anywhere in particular, but you go some places in South Georgia.
Kawita.
I just say you go south a couple hours, where, you know, you walk in the courtroom as a black lawyer, you know, aside from my client, I'm the only black person, you know, in the room. You know, as far as the prosecutors, the judges, you know, even some of the other defense lawyers, then it might be a little different. But like I say, in this case, though, I think this case is unique as far as the amount of people of color that's involved in this case.
Yeah, yeah, and it feels, and especially having so many smart people in there.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is not a ghetto lawyer. It's like they're really professional.
Right.
All right. Micah asks, why do you think they put convicted murderers and people doing life sentence on this case? What's the benefit of that?
I would put forth, and this is just my 2 cents. I would say that it makes a case like this. It makes it look worse to a jury when you got, especially because it's no secret. Mr. Williams is the head of this whole operation, and if you're trying to, if you're targeting a person in a RICO, an organized crime conspiracy, if you surround them with people who have been convicted of some of the what's seemingly some of the worst crimes out there, whether it's armed robbery, murder, etc., it makes this particular person look more dangerous. It makes them look worse. It makes them look more guilty, whether it's true or not. Like this it looks worse, and it benefits or makes the prosecution's case look a little bit better. But as a defense, it's our job to bring that to light. Like you can't just put people who have already the due process has been done to them. Like
Mhm.
you don't get two bites. You don't get to just keep on punishing people for the same thing, or you don't get to lump people together to achieve your goal. If you have a case against someone, then you build that case. You don't play with people's lives and use other people to build your case and make your case against one person better.
Yeah, that's not right. Okay. Since you are an artist or slash writer and also an attorney, what is your thoughts on lyrics, which is a form of art expression being used as evidence in this trial?
Hmm, that's good. I like that. So I I'm not a fan of it. I'm honestly not a fan of it because I mean, as an artist, like it's a lot of things that goes into making art. It's a lot of things that just a lot of times when it comes to being an artist, whether it's a musical artist um or even a visual artist, like what the music you make or the portraits you make, it doesn't necessarily reflect things that you have done or things that you are going to do. It could reflect, I don't know. It could. Sometimes I've had dreams and a dream about something, and then I get up. It inspires. You know what? I want to make a song about it. And if I have a dream about something, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that I'm going to do or planning to do. Um, we have a lot of freedom. So the First Amendment grants us, we have a freedom of to express ourselves, a freedom you know, to express ourselves in ways, to produce art, and it definitely hampers the creative ability and capacity when people are walking around, in fear that, oh, I can't produce the art in the way that I want to because I might have someone who will overanalyze it and look too much into it and try to prosecute me. I think it's terrible.
It is terrible. It is very terrible. Um, well, let me see, get a last question and then I'll get your final thoughts because I don't keep anybody longer than an hour because I'm very respectful of your time. Anyone wants to give me the last question? And so I want to ask you a question. My question is, how do you feel? Do you feel that the defense is going to win?
I think that it's some great lawyers on the defense. Like I said, um, everyone on the defense, they're great lawyers, and I think that they'll get together. I think that despite whatever obstacles the state throws at them, despite whatever else comes their way, I think they'll get together and make it happen. So I'm rooting for them, and when the time comes, for myself and everyone else to get back for the next go round, I think that the same result will happen. So I'm rooting for everybody.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Justin. I would like to do you some justice a little bit. Guys, do you have a Cash App? I would love to put up.
I do.
What's your Cash App?
Let me see. It is
You want to text
dollar
it to
sign.
me? I could put it in
Yeah,
if you
do
text
that.
it to me.
I just sent it.
Okay, one question over here. It says here. Okay, I got it. There's a question right there. What happens if the trial does not start soon? Can the charges be dropped?
So if it doesn't start soon, like I said, I know multiple of the clients have filed speedy trial demands, and if if this drags out too long, then I mean, that could definitely pose some speedy trial issues. And like I said, even if it doesn't necessarily result in the charges getting dropped at this point, because like I said, the speedy trial issue, I guess the argument on the other side is that I mean, technically trial has started because jury selection has started, but like I said, just jury selection has been taking so long. Opening statements haven't started, so I guess the substance, as far as the nitty gritty of calling witnesses and testimony hasn't started. So if it lasts too long, then that could definitely pose a speedy trial issue for appeal.
Okay. I don't know if I cut you off when you were trying to explain what speedy trial in Georgia is. Did you give us the whole process of the speedy trial? What is that all about? How they
Yeah, I did. I said that when it comes to speedy trial, it just expedites how soon that a case has to be put on a trial calendar. And when I say trial calendar, um, there are usually only certain sessions, depending on the court, the judge. It may be by the month, it may be quarterly, depending on the time period. That's when trial calendars occur. So when you file a speedy trial demand, it just puts the clock on how soon the case has to be put on the trial calendar.
wait, no. Recently, Donald Trump and a couple of defendants were charged, and they have a RICO.
Hmm.
Everybody got bond, right? And then their speedy trial, they're getting a speedy trial. In
Hmm.
fact, one is starting in October. How is that possible when you have these young men still sitting in Rice Street, sitting in college, no bond, still suffering?
That's a great question. That's a great question. That's a great question. When you look at the only thing that I can, you know, the only thing that I can think of is I'll say when you power, money, and influence come a long way in the U.S. I mean, you look at Donald Trump. He, like I said, he's charged with some of the same charges as some of our clients in YSL, and he had a bond before he turned himself in. But you look at the power and influence that Donald Trump has as a former president. Sometimes people like that can make things happen that others can't. Is it fair? Not. It's not fair. But power, money, and influence, it goes a long way.
And I know people would say, "Oh, he didn't get charged with murder and all that." But I know individual because I've been watching Judge Manning, and I've been watching other judges who's been doing bond hearing. Murderers have been getting bond. I'm serious. Murderers have been getting bond. Um, and I don't understand. I mean, they get high bond, but the point is they still getting bonds, like $700,000, $800,000 bond.
Hmm.
A lot of them can't meet the bond amount, but they're getting bonds.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to bond, the judges have a lot of discretion in setting bonds. So yeah, that's largely up to the judge right there. Like I said, is it always fair? Sometimes certain things like this kind of just depends on the judge you go before. There's a lot of factors that go into bond, like previous criminal history, ties to the community, risk of intimidating witnesses and all of that, and all of those things, and even sometimes just the particular facts and circumstances of your case. But sometimes it depends on the particular judge you get in front of. You get lucky enough to come before a judge who, certain cases they don't view them they view them differently than others, then you may get a different result.
But I would think everything would be trying kind of fair across the board, because if the guy that got that RICO in Savannah, he had some of his co-defendant had murdered, but he gets a bond. Then you have Jeffrey, who's over here in Atlanta, he's not getting a bond, and he's not directly charged with murder, but he's charged with other people supposedly doing murders. That's just not fair.
Right.
But guys, did you guys get his Cash App? Hit his Cash App, guys. Please hit the Cash App. Make it rain for him. Okay. Let me change this. Okay. All right. So, any last thoughts before I leave you?
I just leave off with two things. I say one, when it gets real, call Jay Hill. If you need anything, accused of a crime anywhere in the state of Georgia, give me a call, 770-299-4455. Or if you get injured in an accident, slip and fall, anything of the like, give me a call as well. And like I said, my EP is Capped to Be Honest. It's coming soon, so make sure you check it out.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hill. You have a wonderful evening.
You too.
God bless you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. What do you think? Anybody in the Georgia area, take his number. Because I'm telling you, the stuff that I see, the reviews that I've gotten, it's been great reviews. So take his number if you're in Georgia. If you ever find yourself needing an attorney, definitely call upon him. But anyway, guys, I'm about to let this live in, and then I got some updates for you guys. I know you guys been waiting for updates on. I got some stuff, Mr. Kelly. I know, Mr. Kelly. Okay. So I'll see you guys in a few. Give me a moment to get myself reset and get back in here. All right. Thank you, FaZe. How are you? Been a long time. All right, guys. I'll check you guys in a few. God bless you. Love y'all.